There is something you have been doing every single time you try to make reality respond to you. Something so consistent, so automatic, so deeply woven into the way you approach what you want, that you have never once stopped to look at it directly. Not because you can't see it, because seeing it clearly would require you to stop doing the one thing that feels like the only thing keeping you in control. Today, you stop and you look. What you're about to discover is not a technique. It is not a method you apply and then discard when life gets difficult again. It is a recognition, a moment of clear seeing that, once it happens, cannot be undone. Because what has been seen cannot be unseen. And what you're about to see has been running your relationship with reality for as long as you can remember. You have been trying to control the quantum field, and the quantum field has been waiting with infinite patience for you to stop. Let that land for a moment. Don't rush past it, because there is something in that sentence that your mind wants to immediately categorize, file away, and convert into another thing you already know. Watch that impulse. Watch how quickly the mind moves to contain what it hasn't yet understood. That movement, that reflex to grasp and categorize and manage, that is exactly what we are going to look at today. Because here is what no one tells you about the quantum field. It does not respond to your effort. It does not respond to your intensity. It does not respond to how badly you want something, how clearly you visualize it, how many times you repeat your affirmations, or how carefully you have constructed your vision board. The quantum field responds to the quality of your observation. And the moment you shift from controlling to witnessing, from grasping to watching, something in the structure of reality itself reorganizes around your clarity. That is not belief, that is quantum mechanics, and we are going to look at exactly why, exactly how, and exactly what it means for the life you are trying to build right now. But first, look closer. Look at the thing you have been doing every single time you have tried to make something happen. Look at the tension in it. Look at the urgency. Look at the way you have been approaching your desires the way you might approach a stubborn door. Pushing, rattling, trying different angles, wondering why it won't open. You've been treating the quantum field like a vending machine that is broken, and you have been the person hitting the side of it, convinced that enough force will eventually produce what you paid for. It won't. And somewhere in you already know this. Because you have done everything right, you have visualized, you have affirmed. You have raised your vibration, cleared your blocks, done the inner work, set the intentions, released the attachment, or tried to. And still there is this gap between what you are reaching for and what is actually showing up. And you have probably concluded at some point that you are doing something wrong, that you are missing a piece, that the system works for other people, but something in you is broken or blocked or not quite calibrated right. Look closer. What if the gap isn't because you're doing it wrong? What if the gap is being created by the doing itself? This is where we begin, not with another technique, not with another framework you layer on top of the ones you already have. We begin with a single act of clear seeing, looking directly at the mechanism you have been using and watching what it actually is. If this is landing for you, take a second to like this video and subscribe. It helps this transmission reach the people who are ready for it, and we return immediately to the watching. Here's what quantum mechanics reveals about observation and why it changes everything about how you understand your relationship with reality. In 1927, physicists conducting what became known as the Double Slit Experiment discovered something that should have permanently altered the way human beings understand consciousness and reality. They were studying the behavior of electrons, the fundamental particles that make up matter. And what they found was this: when electrons were not being observed, they behaved like waves. They spread out across multiple possibilities simultaneously, existing in what physicists call superposition, a state of pure potential where all outcomes exist at once. But the moment a measuring device was introduced, the moment observation occurred, the electron collapsed from its wave state into a single definite position, a particle, a specific outcome. The act of observation collapsed infinite possibility into singular reality. Sit with that, because this is not a metaphor. This is not a spiritual interpretation of a scientific experiment. This is the literal, measurable behavior of the fundamental building blocks of physical reality. Matter itself behaves differently depending on whether it is being observed. The presence of an observer changes what is observed, not symbolically, not philosophically, physically, measurably, repeatedly. Now look at what this means for you. If the quantum field, the field of pure potential from which all physical reality emerges, collapses into specific form in response to observation, then the quality of your observation is the most powerful variable in your reality creation, not your willpower, not your effort, not your desire, your observation, the nature of how you are watching. And here is what most people have never been shown. There is a fundamental difference between observation and control, between witnessing and grasping, between watching and forcing. And the quantum field responds to one of them and collapses away from the other. When you try to control an outcome, you are not observing the quantum field. You are imposing a fixed expectation onto it. You are approaching the field of infinite possibility with a predetermined demand, and you are pushing away everything that doesn't match your specific vision of how things should look. Control is a closed fist. Observation is an open hand. And the quantum field, which exists as pure potential, as all possibilities simultaneously, can only be received. It cannot be seized. This is the thing you have been doing wrong. Not because you are broken, not because you lack the right technique, but because no one showed you the difference between reaching for reality and watching it arrive. Let's go deeper into what you're actually seeing here. There is a state that quantum physicists describe as superposition, that wave state where all possibilities exist simultaneously. And there is the collapse, the moment when observation causes a single possibility to crystallize into form. What most people don't understand is that your consciousness is always observing. Always. Even when you think you're not paying attention to something, you are observing it through the lens of your expectations, your beliefs, your emotional state. You are always collapsing the quantum field into some form of reality. The question is not whether you are collapsing it, but from what state of observation you are doing so. When you observe the quantum field from a state of control, from urgency, from fear of not getting what you want, from the desperate need to make something happen, you are collapsing the field from a state of contraction. And what contracts cannot expand, what grasps cannot receive. The very act of trying to force reality into the shape you want is the act that prevents the shape you want from forming. But when you observe from a state of open witnessing, from curiosity, from trust, from the willingness to see what is actually there rather than demanding what you think should be there. You are collapsing the field from a state of expansion. And what expands can hold more. What is open can receive what it couldn't previously contain. This is not philosophy. This is the mechanics of how consciousness interacts with the quantum field. Now watch what happens in your body when you hear this. Really watch. Because there is probably a part of you that is already beginning to understand this, and another part that is resisting it. Not because it isn't true, but because if it is true, then everything you have been doing to try to control your reality has been working against you. And that is a confronting thing to see. Look at the resistance. Don't push it away. Observe it. Because the resistance itself is a demonstration of exactly what we're talking about. The moment you feel the urge to argue with this, to find the exception, to say, but what about? That is the controlling mind trying to maintain its grip on how reality is supposed to work. Watch it. Don't fight it. Just watch it. And notice what happens when you watch it instead of becoming it. It shifts, doesn't it? When you observe the resistance rather than being the resistance, it loses a little of its solidity. It becomes something you're watching rather than something you are. And that distinction, that tiny but enormous distinction between being something and watching something, is the entire principle we're exploring today. Let me show you something. There was a man named Elias who spent 7 years trying to build a life that matched the vision he carried in his mind. He was not lazy, he was not unaware. He had read every book, attended every seminar, learned every principle of manifestation and attraction that existed. He had a vision board that covered an entire wall of his apartment. He had morning routines that began before sunrise and evening practices that stretched past midnight. He was, by any measure, one of the most intentional people you would ever encounter. And yet the life he was building never quite matched the life he was reaching for. There was always a gap, always something slightly off. The relationship that came close but not close enough. The opportunity that arrived but with conditions that made it unworkable. The breakthrough that seemed imminent and then dissolved. Elias had a word for this pattern. He called it resistance, and he spent years trying to clear it, dissolve it, transmute it, release it. He never once considered the possibility that he was creating it. One evening, Elias sat by a lake near his home. He was exhausted, not physically, though he was that too, but exhausted in a way that went deeper than the body. He was tired of trying, tired of the effort, tired of the endless cycle of intention, action, disappointment, recalibration, and intention again. And in that exhaustion, something unusual happened. He stopped, not as a technique, not as a practice. He simply ran out of the energy required to keep reaching. And in that stopping, in that moment of pure exhaustion-induced surrender, he looked at the lake. Not at what the lake could give him, not at what the lake represented, not at what the lake symbolized about abundance or flow or the universe's infinite supply. He just looked at the lake, the way the last light moved across the surface, the small disturbances where fish move just below the surface, the stillness at the center where the water was so calm it reflected the sky perfectly. And for the first time in 7 years, Elias was not trying to make something happen. He was watching, and as he watched, as he simply, cleanly, without agenda observed the lake, he noticed something that he had never noticed before. The water at the center, The perfectly still water that reflected the sky so clearly was still precisely because nothing was disturbing it. No wind, no movement, no interference. The stillness was not something the lake was doing, it was something the lake was being in the absence of disturbance. And Elias understood in that moment what he had been doing for 7 years. He had been the disturbance. Every technique, every practice, every intentional act of manifestation had been a stone thrown into the lake of his own quantum field. And a lake full of stones cannot reflect the sky. A lake being constantly disturbed cannot show you the clear image of what is above it. He had been so busy trying to create his reality that he had never given reality the stillness it needed to reflect back to him what was already there. Look closer, because what Elias discovered at that lake is what you have been circling around, perhaps for months, perhaps for years. The quantum field is not a machine you operate. It is a field you inhabit, and the quality of your inhabitation, the quality of your presence within it, determines what it reflects back to you. Disturbance creates distortion, stillness creates clarity, and clarity is the only thing that allows the field to show you what is actually possible. If there has been a moment in your own life when you stopped reaching and something suddenly became clear, when you put down the effort and the field showed you something you hadn't been able to see, drop it in the comments. What did you notice when you finally stopped looking away from it? This is where the principle becomes precise. Control is a form of disturbance. Every act of grasping, forcing, demanding, manipulating, or urgently needing creates a disturbance in the field of your own consciousness. And the quantum field, which is exquisitely sensitive to the quality of your observation, responds to that disturbance by reflecting it back as more conditions that require control. More obstacles, more resistance, more the feeling that reality is not cooperating with you, because it isn't. Not because the universe is withholding, but because you have been approaching a field of pure receptive potential with a closed, demanding, controlling energy. And the field, like the lake, can only reflect what is present within it. This is what the Double Slit Experiment actually tells us about consciousness and reality. The electron doesn't become a particle because the scientist wants it to. It becomes a particle because it is observed. The observation itself, not the desire, not the intention, not the force of will. The observation is what collapses possibility into form. And the nature of that observation matters. A measuring device that disturbs the electron changes what the electron does. An observation that is clean and non-interfering allows the electron to reveal its true nature. Your consciousness works the same way. When you observe your desired reality with clean, non-interfering awareness, when you watch it the way Elias watched that lake, you allow it to collapse from possibility into form without distorting it with the interference of your control. But when you observe it with the grasping, urgent, controlling energy of someone who needs it to be a certain way, you are the measuring device that disturbs the electron. You are the stone in the lake. You are the interference pattern that prevents the clear reflection. Now watch what happens when you stop, not as a technique, as a genuine act of letting go. Pause here. This is not a thought exercise. This is an observation. I want you to bring to mind something you have been wanting to create in your life, something you have been working toward, reaching for, trying to make happen. Don't choose something small. Choose the thing that matters, the relationship, the abundance, the work that feels like it's yours to do. The version of yourself that you can see so clearly and that keeps feeling just out of reach. Hold it in your awareness, and now, watch how you are holding it. Watch the quality of your attention toward it. Is there tension in how you're thinking about it? Is there urgency? Is there a subtle undertone of need, of this has to happen, of I've been waiting too long, of why isn't this here yet? Don't judge what you find, just observe it. Watch the quality of your own attention toward the thing you want most. Now notice that quality of attention, that tension, that urgency, that grasping is itself a form of observation, and it is collapsing the quantum field in its own image. It is creating a reality that feels tense, urgent, and out of reach. Not because the universe is cruel, because the universe is a perfect mirror. It reflects the quality of your observation back to you with absolute precision. Now try something. Without changing what you want, without abandoning the desire, see if you can shift the quality of your attention toward it, not from grasping to indifference, not from wanting to not caring, but from grasping to watching, from needing to witnessing, from controlling to observing. See if you can look at what you want the way Elias looked at that lake, with genuine curiosity, with openness, without demanding that it be a certain way right now, without the urgency, without the need to make it happen. Just watch it, the way you would watch something beautiful that you are not trying to possess. Notice what changes in your body when you do this. Notice what settles. Notice what becomes possible in the space that opens when the grasping softens into watching. That is the observer state. That is the position from which the quantum field responds, not the position of force. The position of clear, open, non-interfering observation. And here's what that reveals. The reason control doesn't work is not that you lack the right technique. It is not that you have unresolved blocks or insufficient belief or the wrong vibration. The reason control doesn't work is structural. It is built into the nature of the quantum field itself. The field of pure potential, the field from which all physical reality emerges, exists in a state of superposition, all possibilities simultaneously, and it collapses into specific form through observation. But here is the key. It collapses in alignment with the observer's state, not in alignment with the observer's demands. The field doesn't care what you want, it responds to what you are. And when what you are is someone urgently trying to control an outcome, the field collapses into a reality that reflects urgency and the need for control. It gives you more of what you're being, not more of what you're wanting. This is the hidden mechanism that no one shows you. This is why you can do everything right. All the techniques, all the practices, all the inner work, and still find that what you're reaching for stays just out of reach. Because the reaching itself, the controlling, grasping quality of the reaching, is the thing that keeps it away. But look closer, because there is a layer underneath this that is even more precise. When we talk about control, we are not just talking about the obvious forms, the micromanaging, the obsessive planning, the constant checking to see if things are moving in the right direction. We are talking about something subtler and more pervasive. We are talking about the way your identity is constructed around the need to control. Watch this carefully. Most people who are drawn to the idea of manifestation and reality creation are people who have, at some point in their lives, experienced what it feels like to have reality be completely outside their control. Chaos, instability, the feeling that things could fall apart at any moment. And the mind, being the extraordinary adaptive instrument it is, responded to that experience by developing a strategy. Control everything you can, monitor everything, anticipate every possible failure, stay ahead of every threat. And if you can just control enough, you can prevent the thing you're most afraid of from happening again. This is not weakness. This is intelligence. It is the mind doing exactly what it was designed to do, protect you from pain. But the strategy that protected you in the past is the strategy that is preventing you from receiving in the present. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to protection strategies, it responds to openness. And openness, genuine, structural openness, requires the willingness to not control, to not know, to let reality be something other than what you have predetermined it should be. And that is terrifying to the part of you that learned that control equals safety. Look at that. Look at the fear underneath the control. Not to fix it, not to release it, not to clear it or transmute it or do anything with it at all. Just look at it. Watch it. Because the moment you observe the fear clearly, the moment you see it as a thing you are watching rather than a thing you are, it loses its ability to run the show from behind the scenes. This is the observer effect applied to your own psychology. What you observe, you change. What you avoid observing controls you. The fear that has been driving your control strategies has been running in the background, invisible, because you have been too busy trying to control things to turn and look at it directly. But the moment you look, the moment you say, I see you, I see what you are, I see where you came from, I see why you are here, something shifts, not because you fixed it, because you saw it. And what has been seen cannot unsee itself. Here is the deeper layer of what the quantum field is actually responding to. When physicists study quantum systems, they have discovered something called the observer effect, the principle that the act of measurement changes what is measured. But there is a nuance in this principle that is rarely discussed outside of physics laboratories, and it is the nuance that changes everything. The observer effect is not about desire. It is not about intention. It is about the quality of attention. In quantum systems, what matters is not what the observer wants to find, but how the observer is looking. A measurement that disturbs the system produces different results than a measurement that observes without interference. The system responds to the nature of the interaction, not to the preference of the experimenter. This is precisely what happens in your life. The quantum field, the field of pure potential that underlies all physical reality, responds to the nature of your interaction with it, not to your preference, not to your intention, not to how badly you want something, to the quality of your attention, to whether you are observing from a state of openness or a state of grasping, to whether you are watching or controlling. And this is why the most powerful thing you can do, the most genuinely powerful thing, is not to want more clearly, not to visualize more intensely, not to affirm more consistently. The most powerful thing you can do is to develop the capacity to observe without interfering, to watch without controlling, to be present with what is without demanding that it be something else. This is the observer state. And it is not passive. Let me be very clear about this, because there is a misunderstanding that arises here that stops people from actually embodying this principle. The observer state is not indifference. It is not spiritual bypassing. It is not pretending you don't want what you want or convincing yourself that desire is somehow wrong. The observer state is the most active, most engaged, most fully present state a human being can inhabit. It is the state of complete, clear, non-interfering awareness. The state of seeing what is actually here rather than seeing what you need to be here. Think about the greatest scientists, the greatest artists, the greatest teachers. What they all have in common is not that they don't care about their work. They care enormously. But the quality of their attention is clean. They observe what is actually there, not what they need to be there. They follow the truth of what they are seeing, even when it contradicts what they expected. They are willing to be surprised. They are willing to be wrong. They are willing to let reality show them something they didn't plan for. That willingness, that openness to being shown, is the observer state. And it is from that state that the most extraordinary things emerge. Not because the observer is passive, but because the observer is genuinely, fully, cleanly present with what is. And presence, true presence without the interference of control, is what the quantum field responds to. Let me take you deeper into this through another story. Because there is something in the parable that reaches the parts of us that pure explanation cannot touch. There was a woman named Mira who had spent most of her adult life studying the art of receiving. She had read every text, sat with every teacher, practiced every technique that promised to open the channels of abundance and love and creative fulfillment. She was, by her own account, one of the most spiritually dedicated people she knew. And yet, something remained closed, not dramatically, not in a way that would be obvious to anyone looking at her life from the outside, but she felt it. A subtle tightness, a sense that the life she was living was slightly smaller than the life she was capable of. One day, she traveled to a monastery in the mountains to sit with an old teacher who was known for saying very little and seeing very much. She arrived with a list of questions, carefully prepared, precisely worded. She had thought about this visit for months, and she was ready to finally get the answer she needed. The teacher listened to her first question, something elaborate about how to align her vibration with her highest potential, and then sat in silence for a long time, so long that Mira began to feel uncomfortable. She was about to rephrase the question when the teacher spoke. He said, "You came here to receive answers, but you arrived already full." Mira didn't understand. She had come with questions, not answers. She was open, she thought. She was ready to learn. The teacher shook his head gently. "You arrived with the shape of what you expect to receive. Your questions are not openings, they are containers. You have already decided what the answer should look like. You are not asking, you are confirming." And Mira sat with that. And as she sat with it, as she watched it rather than immediately defending herself against it, she began to see what the teacher was pointing at. Every question she had prepared was built on an assumption about what the answer should be, what form it should take, what it should tell her to do. She had come to receive, but she had arrived with a predetermined shape for what she would receive. And anything that didn't fit that shape, any answer that surprised her, any truth that contradicted her expectations, would be filtered out before she could even register it. She had been doing this her entire life, not just with teachers, with reality itself. Every time she had set an intention, she had simultaneously set the shape of what that intention's fulfillment should look like. And the quantum field, The field of infinite possibility had been trying to deliver to her in forms she couldn't recognize because they didn't match the container she had prepared. The teacher said one more thing before she left. He said, "Empty the container, not the desire, the container, the shape you've decided the answer must take. Become a vessel without a predetermined shape, and watch what fills you." Look closer. Because what the teacher said to Mira is what the quantum field has been trying to say to you every time something arrived that didn't look like what you expected, and you dismissed it. Every time an opportunity appeared in an unexpected form, and you passed it by because it didn't match your vision. Every time a relationship offered something real but not quite right, and you close to it because you had already decided what real would look like. You have been a container with a predetermined shape, and the quantum field, which is infinite, which is beyond any shape you could predetermine, has been trying to fill you with something larger than what your container could hold. This is not about abandoning discernment. This is not about accepting everything that comes. This is about the difference between a container with walls and a vessel with openness. One can only receive what fits its predetermined shape. The other can receive what is actually being offered, and what is being offered is always larger than what you plan for. Now here is where this becomes practical, not as a technique, as a genuine shift in how you inhabit your relationship with reality. The question is not, how do I stop controlling? Because that question is itself a form of control. It assumes that control is something you can manage your way out of, technique your way through, practice your way past, and it can't be done that way. You cannot control your way out of controlling. The question, the real question, is, can I look at what I have been avoiding looking at? Because underneath every control strategy is something you haven't wanted to see. A fear, a belief, a story about what happens when you let go. And as long as you haven't looked at it directly, as long as it remains in the background, running the show from the shadows, it will keep generating the control strategies that keep the quantum field from responding to you. So let's look. Right now, together. What is the thing you have been afraid would happen if you stopped controlling? Not the surface answer, the real one. The one that lives underneath the surface answer in the place you don't usually let yourself go. Is it that nothing will happen? That without your constant effort, reality will simply stop moving toward what you want? That the universe doesn't actually care, and the only thing standing between you and stagnation is your relentless pushing? Or is it something deeper? Is it the fear that if you stop controlling, you will discover that you don't actually deserve what you want? That the control has been a way of proving your worthiness through effort? That if you can just work hard enough, want clearly enough, do everything right enough, you will have earned the right to receive? Or is it something else entirely? Is it the fear that if you stop controlling, you'll have to feel something you have been avoiding? Something that the constant activity of trying to make things happen has been keeping at bay? Look at it. Whatever it is, don't judge it. Don't try to fix it. Don't immediately reach for the practice that will dissolve it. Just look. Because the looking is the thing. The observation is the transformation, not the technique that comes after. The clear, unflinching act of seeing what has been there all along. Watch what happens in your body right now. Watch what arises when you turn your attention toward the thing you have been avoiding looking at. There may be discomfort. There may be a tightening, a resistance, an impulse to look away and think about something else. That is the control mechanism trying to maintain itself. It doesn't want to be seen. because being seen is the thing that dissolves it. Watch it anyway. And notice, as you watch, that you are not the discomfort. You are the one watching the discomfort. There is a you that is prior to the fear, prior to the control strategy, prior to the story about what will happen if you let go. There is a you that can observe all of these things without being destroyed by them. That is the observer. That is the most powerful position in the universe. Not because it controls, but because it sees clearly, and clarity is the only force that transforms without resistance. Now let's look at the quantum mechanics of this with more precision. Because what I just described, the shift from being the fear to watching the fear, is not a metaphor. It is a literal change in the structure of your consciousness's interaction with the quantum field. When you are identified with the fear, when you are the fear rather than the observer of the fear, your consciousness is in a collapsed state, a specific, fixed, contracted state. And from that state, you are collapsing the quantum field into a reality that matches the contraction. You're observing the field through the lens of the fear, and the field is reflecting the fear back to you as your reality. But when you step back into the observer position, when you watch the fear rather than being it, your consciousness expands. It becomes the awareness that contains the fear rather than the fear itself. And from that expanded position, you are observing the quantum field from a state of greater openness, greater possibility, greater capacity to receive what the field is trying to offer. The shift is not about eliminating the fear, it is about changing your relationship to it. From identified to observing, from being to watching. And that shift, that single fundamental shift, changes the quality of your observation, which changes what the quantum field collapses into, which changes your reality. This is not a step-by-step process. It is a single act of clear seeing that, when it happens genuinely, reorganizes everything downstream of it. Let me give you the precise mechanics of what the observer state actually is, because there is a lot of confusion about this. A lot of people hear observe without controlling and translate it into be passive and wait. That is not what this is. That is spiritual bypassing wearing the language of quantum mechanics. The observer state is a state of heightened, active, engaged awareness. It is not waiting, it is watching. And there is an enormous difference between those two things. Waiting is passive. It is the absence of engagement. It is the state of being in a holding pattern until something external changes. Waiting is still a form of control. It is control deferred. It is saying, I can't do anything right now, so I will pause the controlling until conditions change and then I will resume. Watching is active. It is the fullest possible engagement with what is actually happening right now. It is the state of being completely present with reality as it is, without the interference of how you need it to be. Watching is not passive. It is the most demanding thing a consciousness can do, because it requires you to stay present with what is uncomfortable, with what is uncertain, with what doesn't yet make sense, without reaching for the control mechanism that would make you feel safer. Watching requires courage, real courage. The courage to see what is actually here, even when what is actually here is not what you planned for. And here is what that courage produces. When you watch without controlling, when you observe the quantum field from a state of genuine, open, non-interfering awareness, You are not doing nothing. You are doing the most precise, most powerful thing a consciousness can do. You are collapsing the field from a state of expansion rather than contraction. You are allowing the field to show you what is actually possible, rather than only what you have predetermined should be possible. You are creating the conditions for the field to deliver something larger than what your control strategy could have produced. This is what people mean when they talk about synchronicity. Those moments when things align in ways that couldn't have been planned, when the right person appears at the right moment, when the solution arrives from a direction you never anticipated. Those moments are not magic, they are the quantum field responding to an observer who has temporarily stopped controlling and started watching. And in that watching, the field has been able to collapse into a form that control would have prevented. Synchronicity is what the quantum field looks like when you get out of your own way. But look closer, because there is a layer underneath synchronicity that is even more interesting. Most people, when they experience synchronicity, do one of two things. They either dismiss it as coincidence, because their rational mind can't accommodate the idea that reality is responsive to consciousness, or they immediately try to replicate it. They try to figure out what they were doing when the synchronicity happened so they can do more of it and produce more synchronicities. They try to control the state that produced the non-controlling. Watch how funny that is. Watch the mind immediately trying to seize and replicate the very state that is defined by the absence of seizing and replicating. This is the trap, and almost everyone falls into it, because the mind's job is to understand, categorize, and replicate what works. And when something works, when the observer state produces a beautiful synchronicity, when letting go produces a breakthrough, the mind immediately reaches for it as a new technique. And in reaching for it as a technique, destroys the very quality that made it work. The observer state cannot be manufactured. It cannot be produced on demand through a technique. It can only be inhabited through genuine seeing, through genuine willingness to be present with what is, without the agenda of producing a particular outcome. This is the paradox at the heart of everything we are exploring today, and it is a paradox that cannot be resolved through thinking. It can only be navigated through watching. So let's practice that navigation right now, together. Pause here. This is not a thought exercise, this is an observation. I want you to notice something very specific right now. Notice the quality of your listening to this transmission. Notice whether you are listening in order to extract a technique, in order to find the thing you can do to make the observer state happen, or whether you are listening with genuine openness, willing to be shown something you didn't expect, willing to arrive somewhere you didn't plan for. Watch the quality of your listening without judging it. If you find the extracting, technique-seeking quality, good, you found it. That's the watching. That's the observer state beginning to operate. The moment you see the control mechanism in your own listening, you have already stepped back from it. You have become the one watching the mechanism rather than the mechanism itself. Now notice, from this position, from the position of watching your own listening, what do you actually hear? Not what you expected to hear, not what you came here hoping to find. What is actually here in this moment when you listen without the filter of what you need this to be? Stay there for a moment, in the watching, in the genuine, open, non-interfering attention. And notice what becomes available in that space that wasn't available when you were listening through the filter of what you needed to extract. That is the quantum field responding to the observer state. Not dramatically, not with fireworks, with the quiet arrival of something that was always there, waiting for you to stop looking away from it. Think about a belief you held about yourself or your reality that dissolved the moment you looked at it directly. Not when you tried to fix it, but when you simply saw it clearly for what it was. Share that in the comments. What fell apart when you finally watched it without looking away? Now let's go to the layer that applies this most directly to where you are right now. You have been trying to create something, a specific something, and you have been trying hard. And the trying has been producing results. Some results, partial results, results that almost look like what you want but not quite. And you have been wondering what you are missing. Here is what you are missing. Not a technique, a quality of attention. The thing you want to create is already a possibility in the quantum field. It exists right now as a superposition, a wave of potential that contains within it the specific form you are reaching for. But the act of reaching, the controlling, grasping, urgently needing quality of your attention toward it, is the very thing that prevents it from collapsing into form in your reality. Because when you reach for something with that quality of urgency and need, you are not observing it. You are projecting onto it. You are not seeing what is actually there in the field of possibility. You are seeing your fear that it won't arrive. You are seeing your doubt that you deserve it. You are seeing your history of not receiving what you wanted, and the field, which is a perfect mirror, reflects those projections back to you as your experience. But when you stop reaching, when you turn from the grasping to the watching, something changes in the quality of your observation. You begin to see what is actually there rather than what you fear isn't there. And what is actually there in the quantum field is the possibility of everything you want to create. It is already there. It has always been there. The only thing that has been preventing you from seeing it is the interference pattern of your own control. Look closer. This is the thing that Elias discovered at the lake. This is what Mira's teacher was pointing at. The reality you want is not somewhere you need to get to. It is a possibility that is already present in the field, waiting for a quality of observation that can receive it without distorting it. You don't need to create it. You need to stop interfering with it. And the way you stop interfering is not through a technique, it is through clear seeing, through looking directly at the thing you have been avoiding. The fear, the belief, the story, and watching it rather than being it. Because the moment you watch it, you are no longer it. And the moment you are no longer it, it is no longer collapsing the field in its image. And the moment the field is no longer being collapsed by the interference of your control, it can begin to collapse in alignment with the possibility that has always been there. This is not a linear process. It is not a sequence of steps you follow to arrive at a destination. It is a shift in the quality of your presence that, when it happens genuinely, reorganizes everything around it. And it can happen right now, in this moment. Not as a result of something you do, as a result of something you see. Let me bring in one more layer of the quantum mechanics, because there is a principle that is rarely discussed in the context of consciousness and reality creation. And it is the principle that makes everything we have been exploring today precise rather than poetic. In quantum mechanics, there is a concept called quantum coherence. It refers to the state in which quantum systems maintain their wave-like properties, their superposition of multiple possibilities before being collapsed by observation. Coherence is the state of maximum potential. It is the state in which all possibilities are simultaneously available. What disrupts coherence is called decoherence. And decoherence happens when a quantum system interacts with its environment in a way that introduces interference, when the system is disturbed by external factors that force it into a more classical, fixed, determined state. Now apply this to consciousness. Your consciousness, in its natural state, is coherent. It is a field of pure potential, capable of collapsing the quantum field into any number of possible realities. This is your birthright as a conscious being. This is the power of the observer. But when your consciousness is dominated by fear, by control strategies, by the urgency of needing things to be a certain way, it becomes decoherent. It loses its quantum coherence. It becomes a fixed, determined, contracted state rather than an open field of possibility. And from that decoherent state, it can only collapse the quantum field into a narrow range of outcomes. The outcomes that match the contraction. The observer state is the state of maximum coherence. It is the state in which your consciousness returns to its natural quality of open, non-interfering awareness. And from that coherent state, the range of possibilities that can collapse into your reality expands dramatically. You are no longer limited to the outcomes that fit within the container of your control. You become available to the full range of what the quantum field is offering. This is not metaphor. This is the actual physics of consciousness interacting with quantum reality. And the way you restore coherence is not through effort. Effort is a form of interference. You restore coherence through the observer state, through the genuine, open, non-interfering quality of watching rather than controlling. Here is what that looks like in practice, not as a meditation technique, as a way of moving through your day. Every time you notice the urge to control, the impulse to check, to monitor, to push, to force, to make something happen, pause. Not to suppress the impulse, to observe it, watch it, see it clearly. Notice where it lives in your body. Notice the quality of it. Notice the story it is telling you about what will happen if you don't act on it. And then watch what happens when you don't act on it, when you simply observe it without following it, when you let the impulse be there without becoming it. This is not suppression, this is observation, and there is an enormous difference. Suppression pushes the impulse underground, where it continues to operate invisibly. Observation brings it into the light, where it can be seen for what it is. A fear-based strategy that made sense at some point and is now preventing you from receiving what you want. When you observe it, when you see it clearly, it loses its automatic quality. It becomes a choice rather than a compulsion. And from choice, you can choose differently, not because you forced yourself to, but because you saw clearly enough to recognize that the control impulse is not serving you. This is the observer effect applied to your own psychology. And it works with the same precision as the quantum observer effect, because they are the same principle operating at different scales. What you observe, you change. What you avoid observing controls you. The control impulse has been controlling you precisely because you have been avoiding looking at it directly. You have been so busy acting on it, so busy controlling, that you have never stopped to watch what is actually driving it. But the moment you watch it, you change your relationship to it, and changing your relationship to it changes what it produces in your reality. This is the hidden key. This is what was always in plain sight, concealed not by complexity, but by the very act of looking away from it. Let's go to the community for a moment, because there is something I want to offer you here that is not just for you individually. Right now, in this moment, there are people watching this transmission who are at the edge of something, who have been trying for a long time and are exhausted by the trying, who have done everything they were told to do and are wondering why the gap between what they're reaching for and what is showing up hasn't closed, who are, perhaps for the first time, genuinely willing to consider that the trying itself might be the thing that needs to stop. If that is you, if you're at that edge, I want you to do something specific. In the comments below this video, I want you to share one word, just one word. The word that describes what you have been avoiding looking at. Not the control strategy, the thing underneath the control strategy, the fear, the belief, the story. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to justify it. Just one word that names the thing you have been looking away from. Because here is what happens when you name it publicly, when you bring it into the light in a space where others are also looking clearly. It loses its invisibility. It loses the power that comes from operating in the shadows. And the field of observers, the collective consciousness of everyone who is watching this transmission and watching their own patterns with clarity, amplifies the seeing. Your clarity becomes part of a larger clarity. And that larger clarity creates conditions for transformation that individual seeing alone cannot produce. This is not a metaphor about community. This is the quantum principle of entanglement applied to consciousness. When observers are in coherent alignment, when multiple consciousnesses are observing the same thing, with the same quality of clear, non-interfering awareness, the effect on the quantum field is amplified. The field responds to the collective observer with greater precision than it responds to any single observer alone. You are not here to watch alone. You are here to watch together. And the field responds to the quality of that collective watching. So share your word and watch what happens when you do. Now let's go to the integration principle, because everything we have explored today needs to be brought into a form that you can actually embody, not as a technique, but as a way of being. The integration principle is this: the observer state is not something you visit, it is something you return to, and the returning is the practice. You will not stay in the observer state continuously. Your mind will pull you back into control. Your fear will reassert itself. Your history will remind you of all the times you let go and things fell apart. And you will reach again for the familiar tools of grasping and forcing and making things happen. This is not failure. This is the human condition. This is the mind doing what minds do. The practice is not to never lose the observer state. The practice is to notice when you have lost it, to watch the moment of contraction, to see the control impulse arise, to observe the fear that is driving it, and to return. Not forcefully, not with self-judgment, with the same quality of clear, non-interfering awareness that you bring to everything else you observe. The returning is the practice, not the arriving, not the staying, the returning. Because every time you return to the observer state, every time you notice you have been controlling and choose to watch instead, you are strengthening the neural pathways of observation. You are building the capacity for coherence. You are training your consciousness to inhabit the position of the observer with greater ease, greater naturalness, greater stability. And as that capacity grows, the quality of your interaction with the quantum field changes. Not because you have mastered a technique, because you have genuinely, structurally changed the quality of your presence. You have become someone who watches more than they control. someone who observes more than they grasp, someone whose default position in reality is the observer rather than the controller. And from that position, from the observer position, the quantum field responds with a precision and a generosity that no amount of control could produce. This is not a promise. It is a law, as reliable as gravity, as consistent as the double slit experiment, as precise as the mathematics of quantum coherence. What you observe, you change. What you stop controlling, you receive. Let me bring this home with the final layer, the one that contains everything else. You came into this world as an observer. Before the mind learned to control, before the fear learned to grasp, before the strategies of protection were developed, you were a pure observer. You watched the world with the open, non-interfering awareness of someone who had not yet learned that reality needed to be managed. You saw clearly. You received freely. You were in your original state in perfect coherence with the quantum field. And then life happened, and you learned that some things were dangerous, and some things were uncertain, and some things could be lost. And the mind, in its extraordinary adaptive wisdom, develops strategies to protect you from those things. Strategies of control, of monitoring, of anticipating and preventing and managing. And those strategies worked. They kept you safe. They helped you navigate a world that was sometimes genuinely threatening. But the strategies became the default. The protection became the prison. The control that once served you became the thing that now prevents you from receiving what you most want. And the way back to the original observer, to the coherent consciousness, to the quantum field's full responsiveness, is not through dismantling the protection strategies through effort. It is through seeing them clearly, through watching them with the same open, non-interfering awareness that you brought to the world before you learned that the world needed to be controlled. You don't need to go back in time. You don't need to undo what happened. You need to look at what happened, to see it clearly, without judgment, without the need to change it. And in that clear seeing, recognize that the strategies that protected you then are not required now. Not because the world is perfectly safe, because you are no longer the person who needed those particular strategies to survive. You have grown past the need for the strategies, but you haven't looked at them long enough to see that. You have been too busy using them to observe them. Look now. Look at the control strategy. Look at the fear underneath it. Look at the original wound that taught you that control was necessary. Not to fix it, not to heal it through a technique, just to see it. To watch it with the full, clear, non-interfering awareness of the observer. And notice what happens when you do. Notice how the strategy loses its automatic quality when you see it clearly. Notice how the fear becomes something you are watching rather than something you are. Notice how the wound, when seen with genuine compassion, rather than the urgency to fix it, begins to settle into something that can be held rather than something that must be managed. This is the observer effect. This is the quantum field responding to the quality of your attention. This is what happens when you stop looking away. Pause here. This is not a thought exercise. This is an observation. I want you to close your eyes for a moment, and I want you to find the place in your body where you hold the control. The physical location of the grasping. For some people, it's the chest. For others, it's the stomach, or the throat, or the shoulders. Find it. Don't try to change it. Just locate it. Just watch it. Notice its quality. Is it tight, heavy, hot? Notice the texture of it. Notice how long it has been there. Notice how familiar it is. How much a part of your normal experience this sensation has become. So normal that you stopped noticing it was there. Now, without trying to release it, without doing anything with it at all, simply observe it. Watch it the way you would watch a cloud, with genuine curiosity, without needing it to be different than it is, and notice what happens when it is watched, when it is seen clearly, when it is held in the light of your awareness without the urgency to fix or change or dissolve it. Notice if it shifts, not because you made it shift, because it was seen. This is the observer state. This is the position from which the quantum field responds. This is the most powerful place you can be. Not because it controls anything, because it sees everything. And what is seen, truly, clearly, without interference seen, cannot remain unchanged. Open your eyes when you're ready and carry that quality of seeing with you. Not as a technique you deploy in meditation, as a way of moving through your world. As the lens through which you engage with everything, your desires, your fears, your relationships, your work, your dreams. Watch them, all of them, with the same quality of open, non-interfering, genuinely curious observation, and watch what the quantum field does in response. Here is the integration principle stated simply, so that it can travel with you after this transmission ends. Every time you notice the urge to control, ask yourself one question. Not, how do I stop controlling? Ask, what am I afraid to see if I stop? And then look at whatever that is. Don't fix it, don't release it, don't do anything with it. Just look. Watch it with the full, clear, compassionate attention of the observer. And then return to the quantum field, to the field of pure potential, the field of all possibilities simultaneously. And watch it, not with urgency, not with the need for it to produce a specific outcome in a specific time frame. Watch it the way Elias watched the lake, the way you watch something beautiful that you are not trying to possess. And trust, not as a spiritual bypass, not as a way of pretending everything is fine, but as a genuine recognition of what the quantum field actually is. Trust that the field is responsive, that it is already moving in the direction of what you want to create, that it is already collapsing possibilities in your favor, and that the only thing required of you is the quality of observation that allows you to receive what is already arriving. You don't need to make it happen, you need to stop making it not happen. And the way you stop making it not happen is by looking at the thing that has been preventing you from receiving, by watching it clearly, by seeing it for what it is, by observing it without interference until it loses its power to run the show from behind the scenes. This is the quantum field's only instruction to you. Stop trying to control me, start watching me, and watch what I do. If this transmission has shown you something, if something in you has shifted, even slightly, in the direction of watching rather than controlling, share this with someone who is exhausted by the trying. Someone who has been working so hard to make their life respond to them that they have forgotten what it feels like to simply be present with it. When you send this to them, you are not just passing along a video, you are giving them permission to look at what they have been avoiding. And that act of permission, witnessed by another person, amplifies the clarity for both of you. You become part of the same field of observation, and what two people see together is always more than what either could see alone. Share it when the noise of your own day has settled, or the next time you feel yourself reaching instead of watching. because that is exactly when someone else needs to be reminded they can stop too. And if you're watching this channel for the first time, if something in you recognized what was being pointed at here before your mind could catch up with it, then stay. Not because we have techniques to offer you, because we have a quality of seeing to practice together, because the observer state is amplified in a field of observers. And the more clearly we see together, the more precisely the quantum field responds to the collective quality of our watching. You were never meant to look away, and you have been looking away for a long time, not because you are weak or broken or spiritually insufficient, but because looking directly at the thing that has been running your reality is one of the most courageous acts a human being can undertake. But you are here, which means something in you is ready. Something in you chose this transmission in this moment because the part of you that has always known how to watch, the original observer, the coherent consciousness, the part that existed before the control strategies were necessary, that part is ready to be reclaimed. The observer is the most powerful position in the universe, not because it controls, because it sees clearly, and clarity is the only force that transforms without resistance. What you watch, you change. What you avoid controls you. What you stop controlling, you receive. Now you see, and what has been seen cannot be unseen. The quantum field is waiting, not for your effort, not for your intensity, not for your perfectly calibrated intention. It is waiting for the quality of your attention to become what it has always been capable of being. Open, clear, still, watching. That is the signal it responds to. That is the frequency it has always been tuned to receive. That is the observer state. And it is yours, not as something you earn, as something you return to, again and again. Each time more naturally, each time with less effort, each time with more of the quiet certainty that comes from seeing clearly rather than grasping desperately. You were never meant to look away, and today you didn't. Watch what the field does next. The next piece of this that wants to be seen is waiting for you once you see what reality is actually building. Behind your back, nothing is the same. That transmission takes you directly into what the quantum field has already been constructing in the space where your control couldn't reach, and what becomes visible the moment you stop interfering with it.